You're back with the crossover with Marlon Jones and Armon Williams.
All right, welcome back to the crossover with Marlon and Armon, KDUS 1060. Subscribe and follow us on our social media accounts on both our YouTube and Facebook and accounts at the crossover 1060. Once again, that's at the crossover 1060. That's youtube.com/at the crossover 1060 and facebook.com/ at the crossover 1060. All right, Marlon Jones, Big
Yes,
Showtime, Big Pimpin'.
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit NFL football. Just feel like kind of in the mood.
Let's do it.
Arizona Cardinals, they get ready to face the Seattle Seahawks this Sunday up there in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I wanted to talk just a little bit about this thing with what's going on with Tyreke Hill.
No.
Tyreke Hill right now, he's on pace to break the all-time single season yards record.
Yeah, he's front runner for MVP right now.
He's front runner for MVP. Apparently, he didn't need Patrick Mahomes as much as a lot of people thought he did.
Look what Patrick Mahomes is doing right now.
Well, Patrick Mahomes apparently didn't need him, as much as people thought.
Right.
So apparently, they were just beneficial for each other.
Yeah, Mahomes' numbers are pretty pedestrian right now. I mean,
but they're winning.
They're winning. Of course, they're winning.
Right.
I mean, they're in the worst division of football, so of course they're going to be winning.
Defending Super Bowl champions.
Defending Super Bowl champions. Obviously Andy Reid is, doing his thing as usual.
Right.
I'm not saying that Pat Mahomes is sorry. I'm not. Whoa. Let's. But I.
He retired today. He'd be a Hall of Famer.
He would be, but Tyreke was a difference maker.
Absolutely.
He was a. Look what Miami's doing right now. Case in point, look what Miami's doing right now. He's making Tua look like Steve Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean Steve Young.
Yeah, Steve Young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Young. Yeah, I was going to say Jim Kelly maybe.
Well, I said Steve Young because he's a lefty.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Boomer Esiason maybe.
Boomer.
Boomer was pretty good, man. Boomer had some pretty good seasons, man, with the Cincinnati Bengals back in the day. I know Joe Burrow's probably going to make he's probably going to make fans forget about Boomer Esiason and Carson Palmer.
Yeah, I just didn't like Boomer in the booth.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, I care less about Boomer in the booth. I'm talking about what he did on the football field. That was pretty special. But yeah, Tyreke Hill right now, he's on pace to not just break, but to destroy the record. I mean, right now Calvin Johnson has the record. Calvin Johnson has the record for receiving yards. Single season, 1,964. Right now, Tyreke Hill has got 814 receiving yards through 6 games. He's on pace to have 2,306 yards in 17 games. He would shatter it if it went back to 16 games. So there's because if he does that, if he puts anything near those type of numbers, then you can go ahead and throw away the asterisk.
Yeah,
I know some old school football fans are going to want to put an asterisk by this.
No,
if you want to put an asterisk by it, maybe you might want to put an asterisk by the fact that the rules have changed. But even Calvin Johnson was still playing. He wasn't playing back in the 80s or the 90s when he did that. He did that in 2012. So it's not that much different. That's when they started to go ahead and be a little bit more they show more favoritism towards wide receivers and quarterbacks.
And then you'll get the people that'll say, well, the NFL is receiver friendly, it's quarterback friendly, it's you can't play tough defense like you could back in the 90s, blah, blah, blah. We hear it all the time.
Right. Couldn't mug guys like you used to. Like you couldn't, helmet slap somebody or cross lines back in the day.
But nobody else has come close to what Tyreke Hill is doing.
No.
So be quiet and enjoy. And let's hope 2,300-yard receiving in the season?
Yes.
Man, how many touchdowns does he have right now, touchdown receptions?
Oh, what has he got? Touchdown receptions. I think he's got.
And this is in 6 games.
6 games.
Lord have mercy.
I'm gonna have to look that up. To look that up.
It's all good.
I was. It's funny because you were talking about single season like receiving yards, like the record. I'll kind of give you an idea, like the top 10. It's pretty interesting, like the NFL single season receiving yards leaders. From 1 to 10, obviously we mentioned Calvin Johnson from Detroit Lions, Megatron. He had 1,964 yards back in 2012. All right, number 2 on the list was Cooper Kupp from a couple seasons ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, from 2021, he had 1,947. So he was real close. He was something like under 20 yards of breaking Calvin Johnson's or tying or breaking Calvin Johnson's record. and that was 2021. But Julio Jones from the Atlanta Falcons, a lot of people probably wouldn't remember that, but he had back in 2015, he had 1,871 yards.
He just signed with somebody.
Julio?
Yeah, he just signed with somebody. I want to say the Eagles.
Yeah, I think it was the Eagles. Yeah. He just signed, so he's still playing. Fourth on the list, Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice had 1,848 yards back in 1995. Funny thing is that he wasn't the only one that was putting up ridiculous numbers back in 1995. Because let's see, fifth on the list is Antonio Brown from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had 1,834 yards back in 2015. And he had a couple seasons like that where he was just racking up ridiculous numbers. But back in 1995, Isaac Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
Isaac Bruce from the St. Louis Rams, from the
Greatest Show on Turf.
Greatest Show on Turf Rams. Back in 95, this is before the Greatest Show on Turf, he had 1,781 yards.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think Antonio Brown, before the CTE kicked in, he probably would have been on.
Yeah.
He probably would have been talking about him on the list of
all-time greatest.
All-time, without question.
Yeah, he was putting up ridiculous numbers.
Without question.
Yeah. Before he just kind of like lost it. Literally, stripping down, taking his clothes off, not running out, leaving his team in the middle of a game.
He wasn't the same after that.
No, he wasn't the same, man.
After that perfect
It was definitely, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, looking at the rest of the top 10, this is going to be a little bit of a surprise for most fans out there. You probably never heard of the name Charlie Hannigan.
Charlie Hannigan?
Yeah. Charlie Hannigan. Houston Oilers. He had 1,746 yards in a single season. That was back in 1961.
Oh.
I think back then they were still playing 14-game regular seasons.
Yeah.
So after 6 decades, Hannigan's 1961 season in the AFL.
They were not throwing the ball down the field
in
61.
These were the AFL days.
Yes.
His AFL has remained, or his 61 season in the AFL remained one of the best among receivers in AFL, NFL history. He racked up 1,746 yards receiving that year, nearly 600 yards more than the next best receiver. So he almost lapped the next best receiver. So that year, and quarterback George Blanda, who a lot of people are familiar with that name.
Yeah, for sure.
Led the Houston Oilers in the league with a 10-3 record, best record in the AFL, and they wound up winning the AFL championship that year. So, yeah, that was back in 61. And then you had Michael Thomas, New Orleans Saints, getting more current, 1,725 yards in 2019. And Marvin Harrison, a little bit back. That was 2002. He had 1,722 yards. I think that was the year that he had broken the receptions record as well. He had 143 receptions for a single season. At the time, that was insane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing that. And then Antonio Brown appears twice on the top 10 list. 2014, he had 1,698 yards. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting to see see Tyreke Hill doing what he's doing.
And, he's definitely, I think, in my opinion, the best receiver in the game right now. He's just literally unguardable. And it's crazy too because you look at him, he doesn't have any size. He's tiny.
Right.
He's super tiny.
Oh yeah.
You think with his size, he should be in a slot, but he's not. But it's his speed, his ability to run routes, his hands, his fearlessness.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff over the middle.
Oh, yes, he does. But he does. I love it watching him get into space and then people trying to chase him down. It's just one of the funnest things for me to. I'm serious.
He's got world-class track and field speed, man.
World-class.
Going up against guys that are fast, but they ain't world-class track and field fast.
Right.
I remember that they had that little that marker or whatever where they showed him race. They showed where he would be at if he competed in the 2008 Olympics in the 200-meter dash, and he wouldn't have placed, but he would have been in the mix.
Wow.
This is the 200-meter men's finals in the 2008 Olympics or 2012 or 2016 Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of gives you an idea his ridiculous speed.
Yeah, well, we see it every Sunday. And you know what? Speaking of the Dolphins, I think they've got the best coach in the league, too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is I watch as many press interviews or mic'd up with Mike McDaniel.
Right.
He is...
Damn, yeah.
He is phenomenal, man. He should be a comedian. He is funny.
Yeah.
He is super funny.
They showed something. They had something. I haven't had a chance to look at it. That was on Twitter where they were showing him. They said it's 14-minute video, but they're this is worth a look to kind of take a look at him. But he's really an interesting character. Like you said, he probably like has some stand-up qualities about him. Personable.
Very dry humor.
Dry humor. But you know who's got dry humor that a lot of people don't know it, because you see his press conferences and he's like dead ass is Belichick.
Oh yeah.
They say Belichick is a really, really funny guy. Like outside of the press conference,
He's too ornery.
Yeah, but they guys that played for him, they love him.
Well, yeah.
They love him. They say he's got a lot of personality.
I know that's the crazy part with McDaniel. You look at it, he doesn't look the part, but he's got that team believing. They will run through walls for him. He's the ultimate player's coach.
Right.
He's super smart.
Oh yeah,
super
brilliant.
Smart. Yeah, brilliant. And I just look forward to, like I said, his press conferences are just something else. I have to. I'm either cheering for the Cardinals or the Raiders. What do I do?
Right. Well, right now, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to cheer about for the Arizona Cardinals. They are playing hard, though. They are playing hard. So we'll see what they look like against Seattle Seahawks this upcoming game this Sunday. All right. Coming up next, we're going to get into a little bit of More Buzz. It's our weekly segment of More Buzz. And we got an interesting one. We're going to break down the top 50 current NBA players.
Oh.
Yeah, so that should be fun.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. You're tuned in to The Crossover, KDUS 1060, Marlon and Armon. We'll be right back.